It's a repeat of the African Cup of Nations final, Egypt against Senegal in a two-legged affair to qualify for the World Cup in 2020 in Qatar. Hugh, an African side has never won the World Cup. Why is that? What's been missing so far that's kept them away from even the final?
Well, firstly, Luis Suarez's handball on the line.
Yeah, shout. Yeah,
Great. So I'll start with that. I mean, generally speaking, though,
he did miss the penalty. He should have scored the penalty.
Should have been a goal. We should change the rules, but we'll come to that at a different time, I'm sure. Listen, generally speaking, teams from Africa, we have seen some very special players over the decades. What you need, of course, to excel in international football is a squad, a great squad. In fact, you don't even need a great 23. You do need a very good 15 or 16 players to make it through a 7-game tournament and to lift the World Cup. And obviously, European nations have brought squads that are high quality all the way through. And there has never yet been, I think, an African nation without more than about 6 or 7 very talented players that make up the core of their starting 11, and then some weaker players outside of that. And it's those weak points, in fact, that are the difference. Because when you take on these big nations, the quality of coaching, they can pinpoint those and they can try and exploit the weaknesses in the opposition. I think one of the great things about Senegal, what gives them a fantastic opportunity, is that I think generally speaking, across their starting 11 and those 13, 14 players I mentioned, there's a lot of 7 out of 10s. There's a lot of players who are very good in a top league level. So Premier League players, you've got Serie A players, players playing in France who have a big effect. And even though there was a tight final between Egypt and Senegal at the Africa Cup of Nations, I think that overall quality in the Senegal side is what does make them a class apart. They just need to show it, I think, in a tough game. We know what Egypt are like. They like to spoil the party. And that's why I don't think they would be a great side at the World Cup.
I agree with you, Hugh. I'm really excited about Senegal. They're 18th in the FIFA rankings at the moment, but when you look at the spine of this team, Edouard Mendy, Koulibaly in this side, and then those wingers of Ismaila Sarr, and of course Sadio Mane, I think it's really, really special. Idrissa Gueye, of course, in midfield as well. Cheick Kouyaté is a seasoned Premier League performer as well. I think it is about that man, Sadio Mane, as well, who's, of course, an absolute hero in Senegal. We spoke about how important it was to win the African Cup of Nations, how huge it was for them. And they have had moments. You talk about African nations doing well in the World Cups previously. 2002, of course, was a very special one. And now Sadio Mane, having won that African Cup of Nations for the first time for them, is going to have a stadium in his own name in Sadio, which I think is a huge moment for him. And he now has to be the greatest player for Senegal. First of all, would you agree with that, Hugh? Is El Hadji Diouf in that conversation? Are there, is Koulibaly as the captain of that side? Is he part of it as well? Or also, looking forward, someone like Ismaila Sarr, do you think as time goes on, do you think he could have a similar impact to Sadio Mane in world football?
On that point, yeah, I definitely think that Sarr can look to the likes of Mane for that inspiration. And of course, I'm sure they talk and maybe even provide him, with some of the nuggets of his own experience. I think, remember, there was a time when Ismaila Sarr himself was being linked with Liverpool and a huge move to a big club in the Premier League. Watford may well go down once again. And I think it will be very difficult for them to hold on to Ismaila Sarr, because that direct play does offer something that can be very effective in top level football, as he has shown us previously. And yes, I think he does have to do that little bit extra work to catch up with Mane in terms of that end product, which Mane definitely increased after he left Southampton. More goals, more assists, those key deliverables in his position were definitely coming out week after week after week. And that's what makes him probably, you have to say, Senegal's greatest ever player. And I think Senegalese fans would say Henri Camara, who also played in the Premier League, flew the flag for a long time, of course. El Hadji Diouf did as well. Edu Mendy might in the future have a chance of replicating that. We've seen what he's done with his nominations in terms of the goalkeeper spot. I personally think Kalidou Koulibaly does deserve that level of respect for the longevity that he's had as well. And look, these guys won AFCON. I think people need to remember that as well. This is something that their nation has wanted for so long. They in fact can get to a third World Cup, so it's something that for them was a standout moment, and these players helped deliver it. But for me personally, I think you have to pit Mane even ahead of some of the great players that I mentioned because of what he has delivered for them. And I think when we look at the other great players in world football, I don't know why, but it often comes down to what they did for their countries, and he's done it. So yeah, I think you will have to say Sadio Mane.
All this talk about Senegal, let's talk about Egypt as well, because they've got a couple of good players. One in particular, Mohamed Salah, who's got a decent record for Egypt, 79 games, 45 goals, better than Sadio Mane, 84 games and 28 goals. Now, with these two, of course, teammates at club level, but when it comes to the international game, going to be up against each other in this one. I think we both feel quite similar when it comes to the outcome of this tie. Cisse, the manager of Senegal, said himself that they're not the favourites. Well, I'm sorry, you are the favourites. I think their squad is so much better. And what I saw from that final, and actually the 2 extra times in the previous games before that, was the fact that it really was all on Salah's shoulders. He was up there on his own, trying his best, but struggled to get much support really at all. But as these two players come up against each other, it's kind of happening in quite an interesting time for both of them as well, with new contracts on the table for both of them. And it's two players that, yes, of course, they do kind of get on, and I think they're very, very respectful, but there is a bit of an undercurrent of something going on there. What exactly is that, Hugh?
I mean, I personally think Sadio Mane has felt disrespected for a long time, because I think he has delivered for this Liverpool team, and obviously Salah has done more and is often prioritised. I don't think he looks for the great compliments from the public or the media, but I think within Liverpool and the way things have gone with his contract, for example, he feels that maybe he hasn't been given the respect that he deserves. And Salah has. In fact, Salah's been given just about everything. He wants even more. Liverpool say they've done as much as they can in terms of his new contract. I think he's not going to sign that one, and he will get more. So I think Sadio Mane sitting there saying, hold a minute, my contract expires before his. Where's the long-term commitment to me? I've brought this club great things as well. And there are those moments, and we've seen them on the pitch as well, where he doesn't feel that maybe Salah is the team player that he should be. And maybe he feels like Mane feels himself. He has sacrificed some of those headlines for the positivity and the results of the team. And Salah hasn't given the same back to him. And actually, he might feel a little bit disrespected from within the team, from within the club as well. But this opportunity in international football gives him the chance to show his worth one-on-one against Salah. And I love it. I love it because I think that is driving him on at this part of his career. I don't think they will break the bank for Salah and keep Mane and Firmino. I think those two players could be surplus to requirements, or at least one of them, if Salah gets the big contract that he wants. And again, is Salah going to make those sacrifices for the team? We're not quite sure at this point in time. Of course, he's a great guy, but I think Mane has the bit between his teeth a little bit here.
And so when it comes to predictions, super quick one here. I think it's pretty obvious. I think it's going to be Senegal. And I think Egypt might struggle to even score a goal out of these two games as well. How do you see it?
Yeah, certainly for the first game, Egypt at home, I think it will be tight. I'm going to say probably a 1-1 away from home in Senegal. I think Senegal will win that game and they will go through. Hi, I'm Hugh Woozencroft from ESPN's Football Forecast. Make sure you're subscribed. You can follow all of our predictions throughout the season and get some other great analysis from our big names as well.